City of Northglenn, Channel 8, keeping you informed of events in your community.
Call to order the regular City Council meeting of July the 8th, 2019. Joanne, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Escabel.
Here.
Councilmember Sowers.
Here.
Councilmember Leidy will be absent. Councilmember Downing. Here. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Duran-Mullica.
Here.
Councilmember Wilford.
Here.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Responses to citizens' inquiry. City Manager, do you have any?
Thank you, Mayor Escabel. I do have the CRM monthly stats for the month of June. And for the month of June, we had a total of 105 requests opened, a total of 112 closed. The primary method was 69% of residents or citizens contacted us via the website. 3% of those were entered by an employee via phone or email. And then 28% utilized the mobile app. In terms of the top 4 requests, we had, for number 1, the top request for a new trash cart. The second request was for parks conditions. That's just a general something park related from a maintenance perspective. Then the top third was general code enforcement concern, which is not uncommon. We have that within the top 4. And then the fourth topic was abandoned vehicle on public property, which we've also had that as well. In terms of closeout, it took 0 to 3 days for 61 of the requests to be closed out, 4 to 7 days for 14. 8 requests were closed out between 8 and 11 days, and then 3 requests took 12 plus days to close out.
Thank you. Any questions for City Manager Gar? Becky?
Do you have any information on 4th of July? Or any, firework information, how many people were cited, where the citations were done?
I did receive information from Chief May this afternoon. I have not had time to really go through it and digest it. Plan is to add to the July 15th City Council meeting a debrief follow-up on 4th of July. But prior to that session, we'll be emailing out the information. There was enforcement on illegal use of fireworks. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. Overall, the event was successful. There are some things that we will work on moving forward with the city of Thornton, in particular, coordination of traffic control that impacted the Fox Run neighborhoods, 112th, Irma, Colorado on the Thornton side. So Chief is talking with Thornton command staff on that aspect. But yes, we'll have it scheduled for a follow-up, but we'll get council that information in advance of that meeting.
Well, keep this in here. I would
Yes.
just like to say that over in Ward 2 by the Waco School, it's still really out of control at night. I did not call last night. I asked one of my neighbors. Really, I didn't want. Sorry, Brandon.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Geyer. Additions and deletions to the agenda. Are there any? Hearing none. Proclamations. We have 2 proclamations tonight. Would City Council like to join me down? Yes? No?
Parks and Rec. The long one.
This proclamation is for the Parks and Recreation Month. Parks and Recreation and Cultural Service staff will accept this proclamation. Ann Peterson, Dana Kester, Bill Lawson, Ryan Magette, Tim Henley, Candace Mashizi, Doug Regis, Darren Burke, Mark Argo, David Lester, Neil Medina, Adam Duckworth, Tara Porterfield, Kelly Scharfenberg, Melissa Lorenzo, Tracy Ramirez, Lydia Hernandez, Steve Hansen, Jason Davis, Donna Mercer, Lamont Ortega, and Leanne Mercer. Proclamation, whereas Parks and Recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout the county, including the city of Northglenn. And whereas our Parks and Recreation are vitally important, establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring health of all residents, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of the community and region. Is this on? Okay. Good thing I have a good city manager. And whereas Parks and Recreation programs increase community economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, and attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and the City of Northglenn recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, and whereas a Parks and Recreation's open house will be held on July the 20th at Northglenn Recreation Center, where attendees will have the chance to win prizes, including Northglenn player show tickets, free registration for the new paddle and run event, free drop-in passes, and more. I therefore, Antonio B. Escobar, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, hereby proclaim July 2019 as Parks and Recreations Month in the City of Northglenn, and encourage all residents to take advantage of the many parks and recreation services and our city has to offer. Dated this day in Colorado, the 8th day of June 2019. And if we could have Parks and Recreation staff whose names I called out, come on up. Just be over that. I guess I'll stay down here.
Okay, do you want me to do the hot seat for you? Because honey, you're the... We want to, yeah, we want to raise your hand. Oh,
This is gonna be a big group. Yeah.
Amanda, would you come forward, please? So I will present this to you, and hopefully you will give everybody a copy so that they can take it home and put it in their workplace.
I can do that.
Thank you so much for everything you do for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mira nomás. There's enough to go around for everybody. All right. Then the council's behind you, if you would turn and be recognized. Did you? Everybody have get us all in, or do we need to get our names down on the ground?
Do a landscape photo. So don't move a little bit. And then, so, yes, please. Right?
And so, I think that's what the number they gave.
Oh, good. It should have been, yeah.
And what's the number? Because I'll do the math right now. Like,
That's good. It's a full house.
like that. So let me just.
All right, okay. Okay. Mayor Escobar, please. Right. Not everybody, just Mayor Escobar. Well done.
So I got the right number.
Good. Smile. Smile. I'm gonna take several photos. Freeze your face, please.
Freeze your face.
Here we go. Open your eyes. You know it's you. Wait 1 second. We're loading.
Gotta film again.
Okay, good. No. Yay. Okay, now one for social, so one more. Don't move. Okay, everybody, eyes open, big smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Mayor Escobar, can you please smile? Smile, there you go. Good. Good. Excellent, thank you.
Yeah. Taking wedding pictures, that's what you're doing. Yeah.
Okay, we have our next proclamation. I'm going to invite a couple of folks up to join and accept this proclamation. So first, Heather Geyer, our city manager. Next, Jim May, chief of police. Yes, applause is good. Jason Loveland, director of finance. Come on down. Amanda Peterson, director of parks, recreation, and culture. And Debbie Tuttle, our economic development manager. All right, now to the proclamation. Whereas small cities and towns under 50,000 population are the home to millions of Americans and constitute the vast majority of municipalities across the United States. And whereas small cities and towns strive to strengthen their communities through the provision of services and programs to improve the quality of life for all residents, and whereas the federal government is an essential partner in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support programs and legislation that strengthen small communities, and whereas state governments are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support key programs and legislation that strengthens communities, and whereas organizations, businesses, and residents are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to grow their efforts to make small communities a viable choice for people to live in, and whereas during these challenging economic times, the need for a renewed intergovernmental partnership to support essential public services is more important than ever to ensure the safety and growth of small-town America. And whereas the National League of Cities President and the Small Cities Council of the National League of Cities have declared July 2019 as Small Cities Month. Therefore, on behalf of the City of Northglenn City Council, we do hereby proclaim July 2019 as Small Cities Month in the City of Northglenn and encourage President Trump, Congress, state governments, organizations, businesses, and all residents to recognize this event and to work together this month and throughout the year to invest in small cities and towns to better the lives of all residents. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 8th day of July 2019. Heather, there you go.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. We're excited to celebrate Small Cities Month this month. I've always said that the size of Northglenn at 39,000 residents, we have the best of both worlds. We're small enough that you get to really know the residents here in Northglenn, but also big enough to have the resources that we have. But at the end of the day, it takes a partnership between residents and the city and staff, as you saw earlier in celebrating Park and Recreation Month. We're really passionate about what we do, and we're excited to keep moving forward and help Northglenn shine. So thank you.
On the top. Well, let me see on the top. No, last. And then, good. Awesome. Good. Perfect. Right on. Awesome, Grace. Thank you. Oh, yeah. This is much easier to see everyone's smiles. Now I'm really gonna stop you guys. No. Good. Great job. Really good. One more camera. Ready? Yeah.
I'm joking on it.
Yep. How do we do here?
Every day,
Let me see what
every day I've heard.
I keep a different,
Jordan.
just for
Okay, well,
comparison.
moving right along. Public invited to be heard, limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Statements shall be related to city business and limited to matters of community interest. Is there anybody who has signed up for public? No? Is there anybody here who would like to speak to council? Seeing none, thank you. Legislative Policy Committee update, discussion, and possible action.
No update. Nothing
No
this
update.
evening.
Moving right along. Jason, you're on.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. This is the May 2019 finance update. We're 42% of the way through the year, at the time of this report. Start off with sales and use tax update. Sales and use taxes are up 6.8% year over year. Last year at this time, through May, we were up 2.8%, so we're seeing some positive growth in sales and use tax from 2018 to 2019. Specifically, auto use tax is up 9.5%, sales tax just slightly over 3%, and then food tax is up almost 12% on the year. Part of that is with the new store, of course, but the other stores are doing well in addition to that. On the monthly financials, we'll go walk through the funds fairly quickly here. The general fund total revenues are at $9.8 million, and that's up 4.7% year over year. You'll see in the taxes category, property taxes are up about 1% year over year. Sales tax again around 3%. You'll see other taxes, which is made up of occupational taxes, which is our phone tax, a small portion, accommodations tax, and then our audit revenue is up over 106% on the year. Again, our audit team's been doing a great job collecting some audit revenues, and that's up $128,000 at this time compared to last year. Intergovernmental revenues, so large portion of that is highway user tax. That's basically flat for the year. Licenses and permits are down about 10%. Remember last year, there was a large increase in building permits and right-of-way permits. This year, we're just kind of seeing it level off to kind of more normal levels. So although it's down 10%, last year at this time, we were up a significant amount. Other revenues, charges for services up 9%. A lot of that is recreation activities, which we just talked about in proclamation. Fines and forfeiture revenues down 17%, as you can see there. Other revenues that are lined out, investment earnings. We just have some longer-term investments that are seeing some payoff as interest rates were rising for a period of time, as now some of that's tailing back. In 2020, we may not see a significant of growth, but we'll take a large amount of growth in 2019 while we can get it. On the expenditure side of things in the general fund, we'll just tackle some of the big departments that have changes. City manager department, you'll see that's up 45% year over year. Again, one-time expenditures for 50th anniversary, resident survey, employee survey, and things like that are included in that number. Other areas, public works, police, kind of are dependent upon capital purchases. Again, in 2018, public works had a large capital purchase, so they look like they're down 10% on the year. they're not down 10% on the year. It's really a one-time, a large purchase. And then police, the same thing. They're up about 14%. And a large majority of that is the timing of vehicle purchases. Overall in the general fund, expenditures are at $9.8 million through the year, and that's up 7%. If you take out a lot of the one-time, we're more about 4% up in our spending. Everything's in line with the budget, which we had adopted last year for the general fund, so that's a positive. Moving to the water fund, total revenues are at $3.2 million and expenditures of $4.4 million. Total revenues are up 4.5%. You'll see on water charges, they're up about 1.5%. Consumption's actually down through this period 5.5%, as you probably imagine with the rain that we get every evening. And then on the expenditure side, the biggest differentiator there is on the capital outlay. And you'll see the adopted budget and capital outlay of $1.775 million. And through May, we've spent $1.877. That is because of the timing of when we did the carryover adoption. That carried, our first reading was in May, and that didn't get adopted until June technically. So we've already amended the budget. So we haven't overspent that line through May. Technically we had, but I wanted to point that out in case anybody else was wondering why that looked different. Moving on to the wastewater fund, total revenues of $1.6 million and expenditures of just slightly below $2 million. Revenues are up 10.5%. Wastewater charges are up 8.5%. Operating expenditures are relatively flat, up 2%. And then capital outlay, again, is dependent on projects from one year to the next. And this year, in 2019, we're wrapping up the spending on the large headworks project. In the stormwater funds, revenues of $167,000 and expenditures of roughly $39,000. No notes in that fund to report. And then the sanitation fund, $714,000 of revenue and $830,000 of expenditures. Again, trash charges are flat. We've talked about recycling revenues and kind of the polycart revenues. That's just the timing of residents needing polycarts and coming into the community. And then on the expenditure side of things, again, timing of some polycart purchases is really driving that $60,000 number, where it shows that we're up 13% in our spending. Any questions on the funds specifically? We'll jump into some other stuff. Cash and investments on page 8 of the report are at $68,069,000 through May. That's up from $62.6 million in 2018. And then on page 11, taxes collected by the geographic code, kind of to circle back to the prior discussion to start the presentation on taxes. You'll see there's a handful of areas that are down year over year. Nothing really that sticks out significantly. Northglenn Greens, I guess, is down almost 4%. Some of that's timing. I know at the marketplace, next month we'll see kind of a spike, and that's because of some reporting that happened with a significant taxpayer in 2018, 2 returns coming in on the same month. So the more we drill down, the more challenging it is to really take out the pieces that really are significant. So if we just look at that bottom line there, taxes being remitted from locations and sales that happen in Northglenn by businesses located in Northglenn, up 8.2%, which is pretty fantastic through May. So, and with that, that concludes my portion. If you guys have any questions?
Any questions for Jason?
I have a favor to ask.
Sure.
Can you change the grocery store on the Washington Point to be Safeway instead of Albertsons? Would you mind doing that for me?
We could probably do that, yes.
Could you do that for me? Because I'd really appreciate it. You know.
We will do that.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda,
No.
Second.
motioned and seconded. Would you open the vote?
The vote is open.
Oh.
Sorry.
Sorry, Steve.
Yes,
I can't.
I can't control my mouse. It's not going. Control it. Got it under control.
I'll close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Okay, ordinances, second reading, CB 1930.
Move for approval.
Second.
City Clerk, would you read the title, please?
A bill for a special ordinance approving a franchise agreement between the City of Northglenn and Public Service Company of Colorado to provide gas and electricity service in the City of Northglenn pursuant to the terms of such franchise agreement.
Can I make a motion?
Right.
Can I make a motion that for the requests for Excel to continue it to July 22nd for our regular city council meeting?
You need a second?
I don't know, do I need a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded.
And if council needs any brief explanation, it's in the staff report, but XL did request an extension to July 22nd to run their response through their corporate group, and so they asked that it be continued to the 22nd so they could attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joanne, would you open the vote?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and the motion to continue CB 1930 on second reading to July 22nd, 2019 passes unanimously.
Number 13, resolutions. Joanne, would you read the titles, please?
The first one is CR 71, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Northglenn and the Adams County Board of County Commissioners for Animal Shelter Adoption Center Services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Antonio?
Yes.
Heather?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up here. Heather, would you summarize?
Thank you, Mayor Escabel. We actually have Chief May here this evening who's going to provide a summary for council on this item. We also have Executive Director Stephanie Wild from the Adams County Animal Shelter who can also provide you any update and answer any specific questions you might have on this item. So Chief May.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This is an IGA that we're going in with the Adams County Animal Shelter in regards to the services of providing where we can, animal control can take the animals that we find in our community. Last year, we took almost 400 between dogs and cats to the shelter. Also, they dispose of our dead animals that we also find, and we had about 34 of those. In previous years, it was on a per animal fee. This last year was decided for 2019, 2020, moving forward, starting in 2019, we're going to an actual flat fee. And that's based on the percentage of animals that we take compared to the other communities. And I think Stephanie could probably expand on that a little bit. Do you want to come on up? And she can also let you know on some of the exciting things that are going to happen here in the near future. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I also want to introduce Marla Vogel. This is Marla Marla is our administrative coordinator and financial advisor at the animal shelter, who sometimes is better explaining numbers than I am. So we are proposing a flat rate fee, and what that is based on is we took 2016 and 2017 data, and we looked at the uses of Northglenn. And that not only includes just the number of animals, as Chief May explained, but it looks at the type of services that those animals receive. So some may have been protective custody, some were stray, some were disposals, just as he mentioned. And we took that average and built that into a formula, which Marla can expand upon if you have more questions, to really get a flat rate fee. The disadvantages to a flat rate fee, to just be very frank, are if you have fewer animals 1 year and their fee is flat, then you may lose out a little bit. But the advantage is if you have more animals that come in, which we frequently see in cases of a mass impound, a hoarding case, which actually Northglenn has had a few over the years, then you don't have an unexpected bill because you're being charged for those unexpected costs. So we can say that in discussions that we've had with other municipalities, the budget folks really love the flat rate because it's a predictable fee that's not going to go up and down. There's also more of a there's less pressure, I think, on the officers, because I can tell you, just doing this work for quite some time, they do worry about fees when they bring in a lot of animals, and this way they can do their work for your residents in the community without kind of having to worry about how that is going to reflect, because it's pretty much built into the fee system. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Julie?
I guess just a quick question I have. So this IGA is going to be retroactive, going back to 1/1/2019. So have we paid anything so far in 2019?
No, we have not billed it yet
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've already
Come on up,
All
Chief.
right.
Let me get out of
So
here.
one of the things that we've done, because of that unknown, so we try to take into account when we make a prediction on, hey, what are we going to spend this year? We look at the year's past averages. So fortunately, we projected a little high for 2019, so we have enough in our current budget to pay, the fees for this year. So we're good to go.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Do you want me to give an update?
Yes,
Can we
if you
open the
would.
vote, please?
Okay.
Mayor, if Stephanie could just provide an update on the new shelter construction real quick.
Thank you. Just wanted to give you an update while I'm here that the new Adams County Animal Shelter, which will be renamed the Riverdale Animal Shelter, it's just gone vertical. We're expected to have the building complete just about 12 months from now. 11 and a half to 12 months if all goes well. I just want to tell you a couple of features. We work really well with your animal control officers, and we appreciate the partnership. We asked animal control officers over the past couple of years to contribute to some of the ideas for the features for the areas. And we're proud to say that we're going to have a garage with no backing required. Those animal control trucks are hard to see out the back, and it improves safety. We've included bathroom areas for officers, especially if they come in at night. There'll be a truck wash, and chemical use is included in your fee so they can sanitize the trucks. We also have added a state-of-the-art veterinary clinic. We have 2 full-time veterinarians and 3 certified vet techs on staff. So we'll have x-ray machine. One of the challenges sometimes with officers when they come in with injured animals is they have to take those animals with fractures to an outside vet, which Northglenn has to pay for now, and those will also be included in the fee, and so we won't have to be dragging animals that are fractured around. So we're really thrilled about some of the new features. The shelter will be located on the Riverdale Regional Park. It used to be called the Adams County Regional Park, and it is between 120th and 124th, and between Brighton Road and Riverdale. So we will be moving actually a few miles closer to Northglenn as well. So we hope you'll join us for our grand opening next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you guys do for the animals, too. I
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
that.
Thank you. We appreciate our partnership.
Now will you open the vote?
The vote is open.
Please vote. Thank you.
I'll close that vote, and CR 71 passes unanimously.
Okay, CR 73. Joanne, would you read the title, please?
A resolution appointing the Colorado Municipal League alternate representative for the city of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move for approval.
Second.
City Manager Guyer, would you summarize, please?
Thank you, Mayor Escabel. This item, as well as the following items, are resolutions making appointments to various liaison organizations. This particular item is for the Colorado Municipal League alternate representative for the city of Northglenn.
Okay, council, is there discussion?
I think we have to figure out who it's going to be, right?
Right. That's the discussion. Jenny?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to note that I am the primary representative to CML, and most of the meetings will probably start taking place and pick up again towards the fall. And they're typically once a month from between about 9:30 until 1 p.m. Down by the Capitol, and they provide lunch. And it's typically an overview of upcoming legislative issues that we expect to see, and then we have discussion about the policy statement and then take any positions as the committee chooses. So I don't plan on missing a meeting, so hopefully this will just be a stopgap and hopefully not a huge lift for folks.
So the alternate only serves when you cannot.
Yes.
So do we have a name for motion or recommendation for that?
I'll throw my, I'll take it. There's lots of others to come up, so I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Looks like you got it, Julie.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Did you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Thank you. Please vote. CR 74, Finance Committee appointment.
And I'll close the vote on CR 73 real quick, and that vote passes unanimously.
CR 74, Joanne.
A resolution appointing a member of the Northglenn City Council to the City of Northglenn Finance Committee.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Finance?
So, question, is the mayor supposed to sit on that committee? Or, that's what my understanding was, but I don't know for sure. No?
I
Okay.
don't believe so. That's not what we have designated. So currently, the members of the Finance Committee are Councilmember Becky Brown, Councilmember Joyce Downing, and previously Mayor Carol Dodge was on the committee. So I think it's just 3 council members.
Right.
Okay.
I nominate Antonio.
Thank you. I think I had nominated myself last time. That's okay. Yes, I accept. Thank you.
I think it's really important for the mayor
Yes.
to go over those financial results with us so that we can see where the city's spending the money, where council people are spending the money, all things like that. So I think it'd be very beneficial.
Joanne, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 74 passes unanimously.
Okay, CR 75. Read the title, please.
A resolution appointing a city council liaison to the North Metro Fire Rescue District Board for the city of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion on North Metro Fire Rescue District. Liaison appointment, Jenny?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move to insert Councilmember Meredith Ivy.
Can we vote and approve her if she's not here to tell us who would accept it? Oh, that's even better.
And I think she had volunteered.
She has,
because,
she did,
at a
you know,
previous
so I
meeting.
think that's appropriate.
Okay. There it is. Joanne, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote. Thank you.
I'll close that vote, and CR 75 passes unanimously.
CR 76. Joanne, would you read the title, please?
A resolution appointing a city council liaison to the Northglenn Arts and Humanities Foundation for the city of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move for approval.
Second.
I
Discussion.
would volunteer for that one.
Okay. Anybody else? You look like you got it.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Open the vote, please.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I will close that vote, and CR 76 passes unanimously.
CR 77. Joanne, would you read the title, please?
A resolution appointing a city council liaison to the Northglenn Senior Organization of the City of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move for approval.
Okay. Discussion?
So, and I would volunteer.
So would I.
I think I'm more senior than you are.
Go ahead, you can do it.
Would you like to do it?
No, seriously. do
No,
it.
I would like to do it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Jen.
All right. Joanne, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote. Thank you.
I'll close that vote, and CR 77 passes unanimously.
And CR 78. Joanne, would you read the title, please?
A resolution appointing a member of the Northglenn City Council to the City of Northglenn Performance Appraisal Committee.
Discussion?
Can I just ask a question? I know we talked about this the last time, but thought we all, like, after some issues with the performance, we all, like, decided we were all the
That's what I
performance
thought.
appraisal
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking if it's something that needs to still be formalized and we just say we're all on it, or I'm just not sure, because we did decide that we basically are all performance.
Yeah.
So if we added one of us, we're already there.
Was this supposed to be the police pension?
No,
review?
no, this is the performance appraisal committee, and we did have, council did have discussion, but I don't think there was really, don't think landed on a one way or the other, so that's part of why we were bringing this item forward. If you wanted to appoint an individual and keep the committee intact, but really, I think we've moved in a different direction with the updated council appointee evaluation process, so you can go ahead and appoint all of yourselves to the committee or just absolve the committee, and it's a function of council.
Do we have to do that again when we're bringing in our Ward 4? Can we just say all of council?
Can you say council in bond?
You certainly could. I mean, frankly, if the
see.
entire council is the performance appraisal committee, I would suggest a resolution's not necessary at all anymore.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good with it.
So in that event, does that mean that we could amend this resolution to absolve the committee and it ultimately becomes a council function? And
I
then we
think
don't have
that's
to
it.
redo it
Exactly.
every year?
Exactly.
Okay, well, in that case, I move to amend this resolution and absolve the Northglenn Performance Appraisal.
Second.
We're in agreement?
Doing good, Ann.
Joanne, would you open the vote, please?
Sorry. The vote is open.
Please vote. Thank you.
I'll close that vote, and the motion to amend CR 78 and dissolve the Performance Appraisal Committee passes unanimously.
Thank you. Brings us to communications. We'll start with you, Jordan.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
I just have one thing, just to remind everyone that early bird registration for NLC for San Antonio is closing, so if anybody's interested, you need to get hold of Susan, sooner than later.
I don't really have a lot. I just have one thing, if I might ask Heather.
Yes.
Heather, can you find out whether we had any issues with council members not going to CML that we actually had to pay for registration, we actually paid for hotel rooms, things like that? In the past, we have had situations where we had no-shows, and I kind of wanted to see last year compared to this year. I don't need names. I'm pretty sure, I don't need those at all. I'd just like to know, my concern lies in consistency of not attending these and the cost to the city. That's exactly where my concern lies. So if I could get that information from you, I would really,
Would all of council like that information, or,
Yes.
so I'm clear on who I'm sending it to? Okay.
Send it to
Just send it to all.
Yeah, send it to all of
Yes.
council. Yeah, I'll try to have that done by the end of the week. Jason will pull the information, so if we get it to you sooner, we will.
perfect. I'll just be looking for it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you. For me, it's, I just overwhelmed with the response of our city employees and the volunteers to get this 4th of July off and running in the rain, in the sun. It was an amazing 4th of July, and I can't even begin to thank all of staff and of course, our leader, Heather Geyer, but it was an amazing event considering the weather. Sun is shining 1 minute and it's threatening hail the next. Traffic. It's a beautiful event, and I just want to thank our city employees and our volunteers. That's all I have.
Great. I also just wanted to mention a few things about 4th of July. I had the opportunity to judge the kid bike and the dogs, and we only had 5 dogs, so I challenged residents to decorate their dogs and their strollers and bring them out next year. But that was great. Some great kids. We had 3 different age groups, I think it was, or 2 different age groups. But always a great event. And then the senior bake sale occurs during the 4th of July. And I know some folks were disappointed because they didn't have enough stuff. And you can always stop by and give a donation. If you don't want to buy anything, they would gladly accept that. And then when it comes to Northglenn, they do a bake sale as well. And so if you like to bake and you want to contribute items to their bake sale, I'm sure that you can reach out to Kate at the senior center, and she would gladly help in getting you signed up to include some items. And then I've attended concert in the park. Just a reminder to everybody that the next one is tomorrow, and there's 2 more concerts in the park before the movie in the park begins. And I just have to say, I've been attending the concert in the park and for a couple years now, and it is so exciting to see the attendance, and I think it's finally picking up, and people are really starting to either remember or it's just in their timing. The weather is held out for us, but we have 2 more, so please come out. There's a food truck. Northglenn Arts and Humanities has alcoholic beverages, but it's just a great family event, and so I just would encourage more residents to come out and just enjoy the evening. That's it.
All right, well, I had a great 4th of July, and had a great time decorating my duck this year for the duck derby. I definitely, stepped it up a notch, and so I'm really proud. I had the miraculous ladybug duck, so if anyone saw that, thank you. I hope I got some votes. But then, other than that, I attended the North Metro Hot Project's Chamber Breakfast, where our very own Brooke spoke and talked about the Carl's Farm project. It's great to go to those just to see what other great projects are going on in the area. So I really appreciated going to that breakfast. And then finally, the last thing I have is just a really, I guess, heartfelt thank you to staff, and especially those in our Parks and Rec department. I think there's just, I definitely hit a moment this summer. My kids are getting old enough to where, they're jumping out of the car and they're running into the rec center. They do the summer camp. And it's just kind of a good feeling knowing that your kids feel so safe and welcome at the rec center. And my kids love it. They just actually run into the building without me nowadays. So sorry for any seniors walking in and out. But it's a really good feeling to know that, you kind of have a spot in your own community. So I appreciate that. Okay.
All right, a couple of updates from me. First, I recently attended the Colorado Communities for Climate Action Retreat in Vail. It was fantastic. All of the member organizations joined us, and we discussed the policy statement and priorities for 2020. I believe that this final document, once it's been polished up and shined, will come before council for adoption and approval later on. So keep your eyes out for that and know that I am more than happy to answer any questions about the organization, the work, or how we got to some of the policy priorities whenever you want to have that discussion. Secondly, I attended the Historic Preservation Commission meeting this last Wednesday at the Stonehawker Farmhouse, and just wanted to share that last year we tried out doing a mid-mod house tour, which was really fantastic in Ward 4, showcasing some of the Deza Estates homes, and we're kind of throwing around the idea of expanding a home tour throughout the city, but really want to know if residents are also interested. So if you want to showcase your home, or you know someone who has a really fantastic Northglenn home that has been preserved, please feel free to reach out to Councilmember Downing or myself and let us know. We're going to continue having this conversation and hopefully have more to share with you all at some point in the future. And then finally, applications for the Ward 4 vacancy are due this Wednesday by 5 p.m. So if you're interested in applying and haven't gotten your app in, now's the time to throw your hat in the ring. Thank you, that's all for me tonight.
Joanne?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Heather?
Just a quick shout out to staff, community members, or volunteers. Echo what you shared, Mayor, and others. Thank you for all your hard work and commitment to helping make the 4th of July a safe and fun-filled day.
Lori?
Nothing this evening.
Okay. Public invited to be heard. Limit to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments shall be related to items previously addressed by council during the meeting. Is there anybody who would like to come forward and address the council? Huh? Seeing none? You can't whisper in my ear. You have to-
Before we adjourn, can I ask Heather a question?
Yes, you can.
This is where old age really comes in, because in the time that I said that to him, it went out my mind. No. How many applicants, or maybe Joanna knows, how many applicants do we have for the seat in Ward 4 as of today?
We've received 8 as of close of business today.
Wow, that's great. Thank
Wow,
you.
that's quite a pool.
Yeah, this next election is going to be a full house.
Okay, so, adjournment. Executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to section 4.5G of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for negotiations and pursuant to section 4.5B of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for legal advice regarding potential charter amendments.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open. I will close that vote, and the motion to adjourn to executive session passes unanimously.
Okay, we are in executive session. Thank you very much.